Okay, so I believe this is going to be session 9 of the I was going to say Mask and Architect there now, of Night Slow Agents, the Dracula Dossier, and whatever else I called it. So we'll do a little bit of catch up, if we can. Over the course of the last 9 sessions, obviously we had a break because there was illness and and other stuff. Beginning with the opening sequence of the skull in the costermonger's cart, which led you to a house in North London where you found a strange woman claiming to be a vampire and a ghoul. You stove the head in the ghoul. You watched the vampire commit suicide, and one of you was possessed by a spirit. This led you to a grave, the grave of the guy that set the bomb off for the Clerkenwell outrage, and in there was a note, and that led you. No, the note led you to the house. Sorry, other way around. And this progressed, and then you discover vampires exist. Yeah. You've got a number of leads that are relevant. Each one, depending on the where you were. You met a Eastern European chap in a safe house in the Romney Marsh. He claimed that he had to try and was tasked with getting the Spear of Destiny, and you had to kill him. The next stage, you were sent to Morocco, where you encountered a rather powerful human being, possibly not, and a sort of hypnotic witch woman. That gave you some information about Gibraltar and a dig in Romania. You also discovered there was a place in Ireland, and the chap in the Romney Marsh told you about a twin-propped helicopter lifting some lost snowmobile, trucking a gigantic big aircraft, heading to the Ural Mountains. You then, that's that one, then was sent to, you then went looking for HMS Proserpine, which you found as a stone frigate in near Orkney, Shetland Islands. You canoed out, went to the island, went to the HMS Proserpine, discovered somebody calling himself Varney the vampire. Had a chat with Varney. He said that explained there was a number of strains of vampires. A war was coming between potentially Dracula and this what he called the Danube strain. You took some vials from Varney and returned to your safe house. Returned to Slough House. You were sent to speak to or to extract Arkady Shevchenko. And each time you've also had a murmuring or a mention of Kim Philby and his father, St. John Philby. Went to Arkady, went to his doctors. Everything went pear-shaped. You woke up in a cell in some castle somewhere, where you were introduced to Cassandra, Cassandra? Is it Cassandra? Is it Camilla? Sorry, Camilla. And Camilla said that she knew where Ferenzi's body was, and she wanted you to dig it up and hide it, take it away, because she said there was a war coming. So you headed towards the location where Camilla had said this particular body was. Yeah, no, you don't know that, do you? No. Your backup team, Shirley and Marcus, had just up the road, but when you got to the castle and made your way into the catacombs, you found a coffin. Was Shirley there? I've forgotten. No, because Shirley's was tied on top of the coffin. Yep, and there was some scratching, some noise coming from behind the wall. You removed the wall, and there was the desiccated body of Lady Bethany. You took Bethany, strapped her to the coffin, strapped the coffin with Bethany on the back of the vehicle, and drove off, heading towards Dubnik, because that's got a large lake there. You did see a drone, but you seem to think you got away. You dumped the body into the lake, and you managed to get to a safe house, which you've rented for 3 days in like a 2-room motel. And the other thing you had was there was a cryptic phone call from first of all, Camilla told you that Slough House has been razed, and all of your companions destroyed by a mole. The mole must have been Marcus. Marcus is still alive, but you did get a cryptic call from either what's this? You got a cryptic call from your team at Slough House saying that they were in fact, well, you believe the information was that they are below or in Dolphin Court. I think that is more or less up to date. So Jackson Lamb or Roddy had contacted you and told you that they were being held in Dolphin House. So other locations you've got: Dolphin House, Island, Dundreckshire, Crimea. That was where the suitcase was headed. And there was a chap in Crimea that can't remember his name. Romania, there's a dig going on in Romania that's a bit odd, that you discovered that the what's it called, it was being funded secretly. Gibraltar, there was a link via the assassins that were sent to kill you, and the reporter, and the Ural Mountains. So you are essentially trying to decide what to do next. Your Slough House has been cut off. You are directionless, but you do have Shirley with you. Who is usable. Shirley's main trait for this purpose of this venture is that she has a hobby, shall we say, that is an interest in the occult and supernatural shit. She's read up on it because somebody had to.
Yeah.
I think that's a concise-ish telling.
Yes.
You didn't do any of that. So you were in Schloss Karnstein. You'd also been.
Which is a lake.
So Schloss Karnstein is the castle linked to Carmilla. The lake is by Dubnik. And I can't remember the name of the lake because I didn't write it down. And Lilith, you met somebody either claiming to be the daughter of Lilith or linked to Lilith in some way, I think. Otherwise, I've given you that extra information.
Are we now in the car driving somewhere?
No, you're actually at the safe house.
Right. Okay.
Oh yes, no, you didn't. No, you didn't know about Lilith.
Because
Ignore Lilith.
the last note I've got is we drive to hotel in Dubnik.
Yeah, so you're at the hotel. And that's how
Right.
we started at the hotel. Oh. Yeah,
Well,
I think that's. So you kind of got. I don't think I don't think you had contact with any other vampires other than Carmilla, who held you for a bit. She essentially wants to keep a low profile and not be involved in this potential upcoming war.
well, we
But
got to.
She wants to go what was it? Switzerland on it.
sorry,
She wants to go to Switzerland on it. Not getting involved.
Yes, she wants to be quite neutral. But you have managed to take out so far Varney. There's a number of strains of vampires. So from what you learnt from Varney and Carmilla, you kind of think your understanding is that Varney was a strain of vampires, which you may have killed off the entire batch because it was believed that Varney and that woman were the only two left. She did indicate something about the cave below that Irish place that I'm going to try and Dundrek Flor. And that was that. Carmilla is a smaller strand, and she indicated that her strand is linked to Lilith. That's right. Lilith. That's the Gnostic Lilith. So Adam's first wife,
Right,
who is chucked out of Eden, and then is somehow pitched as being the mother of demons at some point. That's two. She didn't say much about about Frenzy. Other than weird, strange vampires who emerged from the Danube. Lilith is all the female vampires, or all the vampires of the Lilith strain are female. And obviously Dracula, and she says that he's probably Telluric in origin.
Which is not to say there aren't female vampires of other strains.
No, so Dracula so obviously Varney created a female Dracula, but he also creates male Draculas, male vampires. Whereas Lilith, it's purely they only Camilla, Bethany, Lilith, and whatnot just female vampires.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it. And there's mentioning of the Liska Bratvers, which is Eastern European gangsters.
For a moment I thought you said Bratwurst.
Yeah,
Like
Bratvers.
what's it? Brat.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, yeah, whatever.
Arkady Shevchenko was Kim Philby's handler at one point. He is well. You don't know what happened to him. That just you went in there. Somebody may have given away the game that you were not CIA operatives or something. I can't remember which one of you. No, you announced your MI5. At which point you were hypnotized and knocked out. Woke up in the cellar. You also found mention of Edom and a piece of paper that showed where's the other? Oh, they've changed the bloody. Is that it? Oh yeah, there is. So, can anyone see the image on the screen being the Tree of Life thing with the symbols?
What?
The only one I've got, the only scene I'm seeing is the castle.
Okay, so how did they change the?
So if you go to the page you want, there's like I think 3 dots. If you click on that, you can say move players here.
There you go. Is that it?
Yep.
Oh, is that the? It looks like a page out of a book.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, that's that.
Lovely. Yeah.
So
thank you.
that appears to be the Dukes of or the 12 leaders of Edom, I think.
Got you.
Yeah.
Is this a real thing, by the way?
No, completely made up. Edom, the word, appears in it's the Bible, obviously. All the crazy shit starts there. Edom. Nope. Can't remember. It's in.
Yes, it's a part of land in Israel.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find the page where it mentions Edom because it's. Edom. It's Isaiah 3:34-14. That's a prophecy concerning Edom. The wild beasts of the desert shall also meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the demon shall cry to his fellow. Lilith also shall rest here and find herself a place of rest. Lilith in the Old Testament appears a number of times, but not in the context of being Adam's first wife. You have to go back to the Gnostic teachings, which are nuttier? No. Different. So the Gnostics are obviously a knowledge based. That's where Gnostic. It means knowledge. A more scholarly form of religion. But their creation myth is different to the creation myth presented in the Old Testament. They have the all-in-one being. Sophia gives birth to the demiurge, and it's the demiurge that wants to make a name for itself and therefore creates the world to show how good it is.
Okay.
And then it's the Gnostics and I guess later the Cathars that believe, in fact, what the Old Testament is the devil has done that. The devil has created all that myth, and it's the devil that has convinced mankind that he's God, and got them to worship. They're actually worshipping him, not God, if that makes sense. Which is why the Catholic Church destroyed all the Cathars. The Gnostics also believed that when the Watchers came down from you had the schism, and Morningstar and his mob of Watchers came down. Some of them settled on Earth, and the Greek pantheon is in fact a bunch of Watchers from the Gnostic and Old Testament pantheon.
Right.
So, yeah, all made up bollocks, but in context, interesting. I quite like. I must say, when I read that actually, I quite like that idea. If you were going to present these other, if you were a Jewish Gnostic, presenting other people's gods as fallen angels corrupting you and pretending to be deities, there's a lot of you could get away with a lot rather than what the Catholics did. So in South America, and they went, "Oh, all these gods, they're just saints." Yeah, we got loads of those, and they just turn them into saints, or they turn up into in the UK, and they went, "Oh, Clu, that's a little leprechaun," and Clu, that powerful Thor type character of Celtic mythology, ends up as a leprechaun giving out gold at the end of the rainbow. Had they stuck with the notion that actually what is the thing that's told you it's a god is in fact a fallen angel, watcher, whatever you want to call it, that would have been cleverer, but they're not. So anyway, so yeah, it's also this particular image looks very much like, sort of like, the Tree of Life. It's a corrupted Tree of Life. The iconography within it is a bit hermetic, a bit Kabbalistic. The serpent looks like an old woodcut of the Leviathan. Oh no! It's a Medusa, isn't it? It's the Gorgon. If you look closer, there might be a face in there. But you've got, I think, the Kabbalistic. So I think it's hermetic. The bottom right, that Star of David thing, and then further up, the other Star of David, that looks more Kabbalistic, but with a little Freemasony thing in the middle. And then you've got a top bit. It's kind of Da Vinci's study of man without the extra arms, with some stars of David and a sun thingy. Yeah, they've gone to town on making it kind of look like it's come from the occult. But it's all over the place. There's pie down there. So yeah, interesting. Anyway, so I've lost my train of thought. Where were we? So yeah, so this, yes, you found this under Sid's body, in the house in Clerkenwell. Well, it wasn't Clerkenwell, but it was after the Clerkenwell incident. The body vanished. Also, she gave you, or was sent to you, the actual Dracula dossier, which none of you have read. Inside the Dracula dossier, there is, so it's essentially the book Dracula with some annotations. So the annotations are done in different pens and done over different time scales. So some is 50s, some the 60s, some the 70s, I think. And maybe, I think some go back to the 1800s. So there's a series of different notations. It's an after-action report by Edom. So Bram Stoker was asked to write it up to kind of fake it, a bit like I use H.G. Wells's War of the Worlds in a similar vein. The story being a dramatization of what actually happened to make people think it's just a story, it didn't actually happen, kind of thing.
Yep.
So within I think it's the Irish edition of Dracula. There's a volcanic earthquake just before Dracula wakes up, which leads into the idea that actually some of the vampires are telluric, which are created out of earthquakes. Which is really tenuous, I must admit. But that's partly because Bram Stoker was just creating one of the few vampire myths. His was not the first. Carmilla came out before him. I think Vrek's Gay Vampire came out either just before or just after. Can't remember the timescales of that one. But his wasn't the first vampire. So he was kind of creating thereafter, and obviously now you would come up with a much smarter way of vampires from I don't want to say Twilight, but yeah, Twilight to the Strain kind of thing. Different ways of doing it. So earthquakes, I don't know whether he was thinking it was opening up a gateway to hell, but that's one idea of how they were created. So Carmilla did indicate that Dracula was a possible telluric vampire. So, with all that in mind, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Do you need any more information? The secret group of Edom, which is also running around, which Marcus has revealed himself to being a member of Edom. And it's Edom that held Varney in HMS Proserpine. Yep. Oh, the other thing, there was a break-in at the British Museum, and vials that had been collected by St. John Philby had been stolen. Now, these are the files that he and his son had taken from the River Jordan to get them spiritually checked to see if the River Jordan was spiritual. I think it was about the time, maybe earlier. No, it was after Kim Philby had been baptized in the River Jordan. What else? Oh, so Kim Philby, there is you had heard that, not Kim, St. John Philby had been doing something. He had something. There was maybe a book. You were supposed to speak to Arcady, because Arcady may have had the location to some missing documents within St. John Philby's history, should we say.
Would the would my uncle know anything about? Have any idea about this? Would you know, Philby?
So wouldn't he? How old would that be? Would know about Kim Philby.
Yeah.
Might have met him once or twice. There is a quite a gap. Philby. The Philbys are interesting chaps. Elder Philby, St John, was involved during World War One. Of the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, and it was St John Philby that was promoting the House of Saud to take over, to create Saudi Arabia out of the ashes of the Ottoman Empire.
Yeah.
He had a disagreement with, I believe he had a disagreement with Lawrence of Arabia. What was Lawrence? T.S. Lawrence?
Mm-hmm.
T.E.
Yeah.
Lawrence. But later on, he had all of Lawrence's documentation. Kim Philby promoted the House of Saudi. House of Saud become who they are. There was also note that it was possible that Burgess had claimed that he had once driven a truck and killed a man on a motorbike, which everyone kind of believes is possible that Guy Burgess may have driven Lawrence off the road, killing him back in whenever it was. He fell. Yeah, and that's a real thing. Lawrence was on a motorbike, had a crash, and the damage to his skull is why we have crash helmets today. That was part of the medical evidence because it was so bad. But Burgess claims he may have assassinated Lawrence. Not clear why, but deliberately.
I know it's obviously a question, but is there any question about detail? No, I felt a bit woozy.
I think there's no hard evidence other than what Burgess had claimed.
Yeah.
And even that might have been second-hand knowledge. It's not quite clear. But certainly, St John Philby was an interesting, another spy who turned interesting kind of person. Obviously, we know Kim Philby was a bit of a boy. It was Kim Philby. So, one second. So, a weird tangent. There's a program on Netflix called The Octopus Murders. Has anyone seen it?
Yes.
Nope.
So The Octopus Murders, if you read the book, it essentially is a group of CIA guys who were burnt in Armenia and kind of took umbrage with that and ultimately started gun running and involved in politics and whatnot. Involved with Reagan, the Iran-Contras, and a whole host of other things. But that goes back to that burning in Armenia, and it was Kim Philby that sold them out to the Russians, which led them to do what they did, allegedly. So there's a sequence within the Octopus Murders that it pops up and it says Philby. They don't mention it in the TV series. You have to go back to the book to find out that Kim Philby link, which is, a huge conspiracy. Interesting, but not relevant to this. But Kim Philby has been popping up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading a book on the Spanish Civil War. Well, it's actually the Cambridge Fire been popping up, and it's Burgess. No, it's Philby. Burgess. I can't remember which one of them. One of them appears in half a paragraph in this Spanish Civil War book because he was the private secretary, lover of a British MP, and they'd come down. I think it was Burgess had come down to Spain just to have a quick look and went. No, it was just a throwaway half a paragraph, but everything I've been fucking reading, little shit's been turning up. It's quite irritating. I don't want to read anything on the Cambridge Five, but it's like, yeah, they appeared in the bloody Octopus Murders, and I put a book on the Dolphin Court because I wanted to read up about that, and then Philby's there. Unbelievable. Doesn't matter.
Stuff.
So finding links in everything. So let's get
Albedo Negredo thing.
That's it. So that is black and white, and these are the things that St. John Philby had or was working on or had knowledge of. Arkady Shevchenko was going to let you know where Kim Philby's stuff was. There's a chunk of Kim Philby's stuff that is missing. St. John Philby's stuff that's missing that you don't know where it is.
Well,
Now some of that.
It seems to me, chaps, we need to find this Arkady Shevchenko.
So I want to double check. I can't remember if you actually met him. Just double check. I don't think you did.
So we learned, apparently we learned that the Americans have an active mission to exfiltrate Shevchenko.
Yes, and you were going to go there and grab him beforehand, but the MI5 guys had vanished, and you got caught up with that, so you didn't speak to them. No, you didn't speak to him. You didn't actually see him. Or was he?
I don't think we've come across him.
No, because.
But that's what I'm saying. We need to find this guy, right? What do you?
I'm up for it.
I wouldn't know where to begin, but
Vienna. Is it Vienna?
Yeah. Well.
So obviously,
I'm sure Min needs a shower if we're at the hotel. I'm gonna get. We've had a long, rough couple of days. We shower, rest, and
yeah. So in terms of going back to Vienna, obviously you've spoken to Camilla. She wanted you to do something. You've done that for her, so therefore you're not going back to Vienna, which, for argument's sake, is her haunt, her base, should we say, shouldn't be too much of a problem because you have fulfilled that one little aspect that she asked you to do. If that makes sense. Oh, there it is.
We had to find the body.
Yes, she wants you to take the body and get rid of it.
Which we did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I'm just trying to find the right page. So, that one. You can shower, have some food, and kind of take a moment to process everything that's gone on over the last few. It's got to be just a couple of weeks, really.
Oh, is that all?
Not long.
Yeah, so we want to make our way back to Vienna. Is that right? After
You can make your way back.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Yeah.
So I suppose you're going to run out of. So your options are limited in as much as you're trying to find this particular chap. Your main source of computer digging was Roddy. That seems to have been they seem to have gone aground or are being held in Dolphin Court in the UK. So you would need to access computers and whatnot with your own skills.
Yes.
So does anyone have a? So in terms of computers, does anyone have that skill to? Jackie, where do you think you should be looking for this guy?
Right, let's have a look at the character sheet.
So this guy, who do we think took him?
He was being.
Because we wanted to find him, but then someone else, we blew our cover.
So-
Or
Well, I think River coughed. So it's possible because you grabbed the doctors that Carmilla may actually have him. So you could simply drive up to Schloss
and ask her.
Karstein and ask, tell her. I mean, that's, might work.
Yeah, we could just bluff and say, look, we know it was you.
I mean, you have completed her side of the mission.
Mm.
Did she turn up? Let me just double check.
Okay.
Louisa's
Right,
got
so-
no skills in computing whatsoever.
What's it going to be under? You've got electronic surveillance, data recovery, cryptography.
Right. So no, actually, no. You were told. So you woke up in the darkness, but you told the voice over the tannoy, I believe, and we'll go with this. Did tell you to watch out for the Lisky Bradfaras monsters, and Philby and his Albedo and Negredo. That's in a safe deposit box. That's in a safe deposit box.
Hmm.
That Shevlenko will let you know. So they so they have Shevlenko, and they know about this Albedo and Negredo that he has in a safety box for safekeeping. So once you've got rid of the body, you can go and speak to them about that safety deposit box.
Sorry,
You know
Yes.
what this thing is supposed to be, the safety deposit box?
So I'll
Is
try
that
and
the
pronounce it
translation
again.
in black and white?
Yeah, Albedo and Negredo.
Negredo. But do we know what it is?
Let me just get that particular element up. Philby, page 12. I can tell you any of that. That's bad. So, why can't I find? Who he was? So you don't know what it is. there's hints that he revealed some of the details of the Albedo and the Negredo to the KGB during his briefing in '63. Hence, Arkady Shevchenko knowing about it.
Right.
But in terms of what it is, I'm just going to try and see if you Google those words. If they can't with anything, let's find a different page.
Come up as alchemical stages.
Okay, so alchemical stages, if you combine them, it creates the rubido, which is the red.
Hmm.
Alchemy. Oh, no.
You're not really sure what that. Well, you can surmise what you think it is, but
They. Yeah. Okay. Well,
so
we have to.
alchemical. It could be that St. John Philby found a way to either create or control vampires.
Blimey.
Hold them.
I mean, he was sticking around the Middle East for quite a while.
Okay. Well, we need to go and see if they have Shevchenko. Or do we? Or do we go see Camilla first?
Well, Shevchenko was being held at Schloss Karnstein because they told you.
Well, guess. Do we want to head back there, guys? Or
I suppose we know the way.
I mean,
He seems like the easiest and possibly the best lead at the moment that we can achieve.
yeah.
It's trying to have you want to have a kind of a bigger feel for what you ultimately want to achieve. Is it a case that you want to destroy all vampires, or do you want to bring down Edom, or do you just want to escape with your lives?
Well, quite. That's why I
It's a
was
combination
asking.
of all three, really, isn't it?
It's. I feel like, yeah.
And if we're saying that something's going on that might see a rise in vampires being created, then that sounds like the thing we need to get sorted first. But where do we go?
Yes,
We have to follow the
that's
leads that we have.
so. You have from where you are. You're quite central. Your options, I guess, closest are Vienna and Romania. Slightly further out are, well, actually, it's from where you are. It's Vienna, Crimea, and Romania. Slightly further out, it's Ural Mountains. Then Gibraltar, London, and Ireland. So it's,
Yeah,
you know, you
Crimea.
can't. Crimea is so the bagman that had the briefcase that was stolen from the Canadian NATO guy he'd given that to a particular CIA asset called, I forgot his name. Why have I forgotten him? He was in Odessa.
Donald Carroll.
Yes, that's it, Carroll. So he's the guy that was Donald Carroll. He's the independent contractor. He's based in Crimea. And he's the one that the briefcase had been given to.
Okay,
And then the that particular guy had a meeting with the reporter Lou, and then was picked up, taken to the safe house in Romney Marsh. Lou went on to Marrakesh. So you know a bit. So what you don't, the one thing you don't know is obviously you know all about the mining group that are digging, or are using the mining group's name to dig in the castle in Romania. All you know about the Ural Mountains is that some weird ass 1930s snow a vehicle that the Americans had used briefly before it got stuck in the snow has been dug out of the snow by the Russians using some experimental technology, some experimental helicopters, and flown to the Ukraine, put in a big aircraft, whose name might be to help. The Antonov. No, Antonov Airport. It was the snow cruiser, and it was in the and it was flown off to the Ural Mountains. Anton Deprevic, who's the guy in the Romney Marsh, or St Mary in the Marsh, who asked to kill, he said Baba Yaga cursed him and told him to find the Spear of Destiny, to use it to kill the Moroi, Moroi. That made no sense to you.
Okay, well,
so
there's a lot of leads.
Yes.
And we have one that's the closest one. So wouldn't it make sense to geographically to go for because we haven't completely explored that lead.
It does, yeah. Like you say, to stay around here, this location, this area, and pick off the leads we've got in the neighbouring countries, sort of thing. Makes perfect sense given what's happening back at home. So I'm up for that.
Yeah. My
sense of
only
proximity.
concern was, my only concern was if we thought it was too hot. You know, if the situation is too hot right now, then we would want to go elsewhere just to let things.
Well, let's think about.
But I don't think it's quite that hot, is it?
What happened? You turned up. CIA guys had vanished, been killed, whatever. You turned up at the doctor's. One person behind the reception hypnotized you, and you were taken to the castle, where you woke up, and then you were released to go and get this body and dump it somewhere. You weren't running amok in Vienna shooting people. There's no big gunfight. So in terms of heat, or what you perceive as being heat, you've left quite a little footprint.
Okay.
Just maybe an unpaid bill at the Airbnb that you stayed, the hotel you stayed, sorry, because you never went back there. You had you had some equipment which you took with you and was brought with you up to the castle because you still have that and some extra bits and pieces. So,
Okay.
in terms of actual heat, as far as you are aware, and obviously, you haven't looked at newspapers or searched the internet to see if your faces appear anywhere, but you don't think that you caused too much of a ripple in the grand scheme of things in Vienna. You met just Carmilla and her mob. If that makes sense.
Yep. Okay.
Right.
Well, in that case, yeah, I'm reassured.
You left a bigger
Yeah.
imprint in Morocco
Yeah.
because there was a gunfight and there was bodies.
Okay. Well, I mean, if the others are in agreement, I would suggest we head back to.
Yeah, try and have a word with him. Yeah, it's fine by
Okay,
me.
so you do have a chunk of money and some false ID and some guns and I want to say you have a Land Rover. I don't believe you drove down in Struan's car. Did you? Did you drive from... Did you fly in or drive in? You flew in, didn't you? And got a hire car.
We must have done.
I think you flew in.
I
Yes, I believe you flew in. Got a hire car. So that's being paid for. It's a people carrier.
Okay.
Big enough to take a coffin and a body strapped to it, obviously, So you can... There's nothing stopping you driving back to Vienna.
Yep. Okay. As soon as we rested a bit,
You could take a day or
can
two to... it's not going to be too much a hardship to get ready and drive back. Now, you've got this place for 3 days. Plus 3 days, 2 days. So after 3 days, you find that you are mentally ready, physically ready. You're all washed and cleaned and ready to go. There's been no mention of you in any of the CNN, BBC, Sky News. There's been nothing mention of you on Vienna's version of the BBC, Romania's version of the BBC or newspapers. You can't find mentions of either your real names or your made-up names that Roddy gave you, other than the obvious. I can't remember that. I think he called you Pew Pew Barnaby Cup and Grub kind of thing. Other than the obvious silly name thing, you can't find mentions of you. So you think you are okay from a legal standpoint. You don't think you're on any watch lists. Now, obviously, EDOM, CIA, MI5 aren't going to advertise on the internet they're looking for you.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing in the local papers. So it's not like you might put missing persons up for you as a a ploy by the CIA or whatever. There's nothing. You feel that things are quite clean.
Okay.
So
We make our way back. Do we want? We've got no reason to be hiding. I mean, well, we're using cash, right? And we've got fake
yes,
identities.
you fake IDs and you have a quantity of cash, a quantity of euros. It's not that important to keep a running total until it's funny not to. It's not. You're just paying for petrol and sandwiches.
Okay.
So
we're not doing any kind of like card or electrical payments. Would we be trying to avoid that? Because
Yeah, try and stay off the grid a bit.
yeah, I mean, obviously, APNR is going to pick up your what's it called?
Vehicle
Your
reg.
vehicle reg wherever you go, and it'll tell you when you're going which borders you're coming through and stuff. That's a little bit unavoidable, but
Okay.
that'll take a little bit of time to catch up. Where are you?
Oh.
You are here. I don't think you're in Hungary, are you? Pretty sure. Oh, Dubnik is still in Romania. I'm just getting Google Maps to confirm that because we found it, but I can't remember where we found it. Oh, bonus. Dubnik is in fact in Slovakia. Not Slovakia. Yeah, Slovakia. So you cross the border.
Looks like a 2.5 to 3 hour drive.
Yeah. Okay. So Bratislava. So from there, Vienna's actually is closer. Romania's a little bit further away. So it would be Vienna, Romania, Crimea, Odessa. Moldova is where the Transnistria region of Moldova is where the guy that you killed in Romney Marsh, St Mary in the Marsh, was picked up, but that's still further away. So yes, it's a 3 hour drive back to Vienna and back to Castle Schloss Karnstein. So those 3 hours can go quite quickly. Border, it's a European border, so you're not covered by Schengen. And you are covered by Schengen because you are British passports. We're assuming British passports. No, Roddy would have given European passports because then you fall within Schengen and therefore can cross the borders without a problem. You wouldn't need to go in the non-EU column, as it were. So getting from Slovakia to Vienna is quite simple. Flash your card, you cross the border, heading towards Schloss Karnstein. So you're about 2 miles out. What is your actual plan when you get to Schloss Karnstein? What's your goal? No, go. Yeah. What's your plan?
Well, we want to ask about Katie, where we can find him, right?
How you can simply turn up, knock on the door, go, hi.
Bad idea, I think. Considering the last time we did that.
Hmm.
I'm afraid I wasn't there for this bit, so I don't know what we did to get into that place.
So you went into the reception. You were hypnotized, and then you woke up in a cell in Castle Custine. So you were kidnapped, essentially.
So have we got no kind of context with the people at this castle?
Only that it's run by vampire Carmilla.
Oh, so the only good grace we might have is that we've done a job for her.
Yes, she specifically wanted you to take the body and put it, get rid of it, do something with it, get rid of it.
So we might be able to swing an interview with this Arkady Shevlenko.
Well, he's being held
Just
there,
because
as far
we've
as you're
done.
aware.
Sorry?
He's being held there.
So
Yeah. We might be able just to walk up and say we'd like to have a word with Camilla. We've just done a job for her.
ask
Yeah.
nicely.
Yeah.
Are you going to go during the day or at night? And that was deliberately meant to be as loaded as you can imagine.
Yes, I picked up on that. Just something's just struck me. Can we refresh our stats levels?
Yes, you can refresh everything. You've had good nights. It feels like it's a moment between. Yes, we can refresh everything.
Right.
All of our skills and stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go with a complete refresh.
16 bullets.
Yeah.
Yes, we possibly can just go up and. Sorry, did we say we're going to go at night or?
Well, yes, during the day or at night. What's your preference?
You actually want to meet her, or do we?
Well, if we want to speak to her, she's not going to be up in the day, is she?
No.
No.
Oh, another thing that struck me. We've got vampirology. But mine's 0.
Yes. If
Would
you
it stop at
have
0?
yes, it will be 0. Yes.
And
So
I know Kev's awarded us some increases, but we haven't had new sheets, have we? So I
No.
haven't written them down.
I will give you, let's say, a 1d4. No, everyone can have 2 across the board. I think if you check with, do you have what's her name? Shirley's. Do you have Shirley's feet or not?
Shirley Dander, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Shirley should have. I think Shirley was given some occulty kind of vampirology just as an additional boost for the team. I believe.
Not. Hang on, that's not Dander. Vampirology 0 on that.
Somebody had it. Was it? I don't think it was Marcus because Marcus is dead. No, Marcus is dead. Marcus, you didn't kill Marcus. You didn't engage in combat with Marcus, did you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so Shirley,
Shirley Dander.
what's her name? Shirley withstanding. Let's say you've all got 2 in vampirology. That'll be you have got experience. You have met vampires. You have killed vampires. You've watched vampires kill themselves. You've been told about vampires, and you've done some research on vampires by Googling what is a vampire, how do you kill it. So I think 1 or 2 points feels like the right amount.
Yeah.
Really.
I would have been happy with 1. So 2.
Well, because you had the 2 feels better. You've had Varney, Frenzy, Bethany, and you've met and spoken to Camilla. That's quite a lot. I think that gives you a. It might be just information about that particular group rather than Dracula himself, kind of thing. But 2 feels like it will work.
Okay.
So, daytime or nighttime? Are you going to?
Yes.
So
nighttime makes sense.
And knock on the front door.
Sorry, Roger, what doesn't make sense?
No, I said that makes sense to go
Oh, sorry,
at
that makes
nighttime.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's not going to be up and about otherwise, is she?
Now, I'm sure staff might be. I mean, you might find that she has staff that are amenable. Amenable? That's a word. We'll stick with that.
Amenable.
Yeah, that's close enough. It's the cold. To be up and about, you wouldn't think that she would have just night staff, surely.
Right.
Well, I mean, daytime sounds safer, so I suppose whether they're the sort of staff that would do anything without her say so, I don't know. It might be worth giving it a shot while it's still daylight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess.
Suppose.
Yeah, if it happens to be daylight, we'll give it a try, I suppose.
Oh, we'll make darn sure it's daylight then when we get there.
Okay. So you arrive in the Lichtenberg Mountains in Styria, outside Schloss Karnstein, page 40. It's a rather large castle. It has an air of. It looks like it should be run down. From a distance, it looks like a decrepit, run-down castle. As you get closer, you kind of realise that some of that silhouette is deliberate to make it look like it's old and crumbling. But it's lived in. It looks lived in up close. There's no broken windows. From a distance, it looks like there's broken windows, but it's almost like not quite a glamour, not quite magical, but it just appears from a distance. It's an old run-down building. Maybe the use of dark windows, so you see no lights further back. But as you get closer, you can see inside some of the windows. So it could be that it's a case of the windows have got almost triangular glass. So at a different elevation, it looks black, but as you get closer, it looks lighter. But it's a 3-story, 1, 2, 4-story. That's an American book. It's a 4-story building with a ground, a first floor, second floor, and a third floor. The third floor is a smaller section, so it's got a peaked roof. And you can recognise where you came in and came out. Not we went in, but where you came out, the main entrance. There's a few cars in the driveway. Nothing that stands out as big. It's not like there's a hearse or that kind of weird ass gothic vehicle. 1 second. I'm just gonna blow my nose. I'm gonna take my speaker.
So park up and head up to the door. And are there
So,
cameras?
make a observation rule. No. Yes, you know there are cameras on the inside because you were being watched in your cellar room. So you can't actually see any obvious cameras, but you think there are cameras. Given that you know there was cameras on the inside, there's no reason why there would be cameras on the outside as well.
Oh, then we.
So you park next. There's a garage, coach house, and stable, yard and car park. So there is, as I said, some vehicles. Nothing that jumps out as being odd. And you arrive at the front door. Slosh and knock on the door. There is a Ring doorbell next to a solid iron pull doorbell. The blue ring of the Ring doorbell is cycling, so it's seen your movement.
We'll press the bell.
If we want to go and talk, then I mean we're not being sneaky about it. So if we want to talk with it, then you just go and
press the bell.
walk up to the door. We're not trying to hide.
Yep.
That we're here. We want to talk. So
Yep.
Yeah. Don't try and sneak up. Just make it obvious that we're turning up.
Yep. Casually saunter up and press the bell.
Yeah. Well, maybe not that casually, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
He opens. So you push doorbell, and a voice comes over. Yes. It's a gravelly male voice with a distinctly Austrian twang to it.
I say we're here to see the lady of the house.
I'm sorry?
I'm going to say we're here to see the lady of the house.
Do you have an appointment?
She'll want to see it. And then she'll want to see us because we've done some work for her.
One moment. And nothing happens for about 3 minutes. It's like everything's just hanging. Then two things happen. There's a sound of crunching of gravel from behind you, and the door opens just ajar. Turning around, you see two male footmen wearing, it's not quite a uniform, but they are wearing the same thing. Brown trousers. They kind of, are they called joppers? It's like half trousers, socks, and shoes, and overcoats, jackets with leather. They're like kind of footman kind of uniform. So they're just kind of standing by the coach house. But the door opens, and inside the castle is a. How old is she? An odd-looking woman. She is wearing a black dress, what appears to be over several shifts and slips. On her head is a brightly covered turban, and she has ritual scars over her face. And she looks at you.
We are here to see. I'll say whatever her name is.
Carmilla.
Carmilla.
Camilla. Yeah.
She smiles. As she smiles, you can see that she has her teeth are filed to points.
Wow.
I'm gonna assume that this is Camilla.
She says to you in a... Where's she from? Okay, so she has a kind of African accent, and what I mean by that is that strong Nigerian, very strong Nigerian-esque accent with a hint of Portuguese. It's almost the accent. So it's an African accent with just moments when certain words have a Portuguese kind of twang, as do a kind of an Austrian twang as well. Like she's picked up certain words from different countries, and she says essentially, "Please enter of your own free will." And she kind of steps back, opening the door with like a smile on her face.
When you say teeth are filed, do you think does it seem unnatural or?
Yes, definitely. And I think her teeth have been filed. So you know the moment in Lord of the Rings, they get to Rivendell, and Bilbo is shown the ring.
Yeah.
He goes to the ring, and his face changes, and he's got sharp teeth.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Okay. Oh, well, thank you, ma'am. And moving closer, are you Camilla?
No. Obviously, I am not Camilla. I am not the lady.
We were hoping to speak to her
And that will be
at
possible.
some time.
Please come in. I will get Mother to escort you to the waiting room. And she kind of looks up slightly, raises the finger of her left hand, nods, and says she's coming. And after a few moments, a very old-looking, withered hag is heading towards you. She's essentially a bag of dust in a dress. As she speaks to beckon you to the waiting room or the drawing room, that voice resonates, and flashes of the receptionists, the doctor's receptionist, and the cell come kind of flooding back. You think she might have been the one that used hypnotic power.
Mm.
Would she have been the receptionist?
She didn't look like a receptionist. She looks old. No, unless there was a glamour or there was some method of changing her shape. That being said, it might have been as you stepped, you were hypnotized before you even got to see her. If that makes sense. So it's possible that she was, and what you think you saw, you didn't actually see it with somebody else.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's-
So please, come into the drawing room. She takes you into a drawing room, which is a dusty. It feels like you're walking into a Hammer House of Horror set. You in your mind's eye, you have a particular idea of what you think you're going to see, and it's almost as if you actually see that. You're not being hypnotized at this moment, I promise. But you actually, it's like they've gone, oh, well, we could have a normal looking IKEA house. Why don't we go for it's almost like somebody's gone, oh no, just set out like an old Hammer house. It's fucking hilarious. And it's got all the trappings of a Gothic room. There is a tapestry. There's large bookcases of dark, foreboding books. There is dusty chairs. There's I want to say there is a drinks cabinet which is made out of globe. That's open with various vials of elixir in there, and she says, "Please take a seat. It is early for the lady to rise, but I believe she'll make an exception for your entourage. Please take a drink if you'd like, if you dare." And she leaves. She kind of she almost like flows out, almost like she's flying out. You can't see her legs move, but she kind of just flies out, and the door's shut behind her. And there's a distinct. The temperature in the room drops almost 1 degree or 2 degrees as she leaves. But you don't feel that you've been hypnotized. You got a sense that you know what that kind of sort of feels like.
Yeah. I'll look at the drinks.
Well, I'm going to suggest we don't drink anything.
But nonetheless, I look.
So
Yeah,
there is red wine, white wine. Well, there's a bottle of red something. There's a bottle of white something. There's a bottle of something that could be brandy. Bottle that could be whiskey. There's a clear bottle of water, vodka maybe. And they're all different levels. So people have been drinking out of them, or they've been filled up at different times. There are some clean glasses. So whilst it has an air of dusty oldness, the room looks like it's being used. I don't want to say lived in because they're not living, but
there is dust, but it's not everywhere.
no.
Okay.
The stuff that would be regularly moved wouldn't have.
You get settled a little bit,
Yeah.
and you feel a little bit easy because you've gone through. You're in here. You've spoken to these people, and you're inside, and you're kind of at ease with yourself. And just at that moment, you go, actually, no, it's going to be okay. The doors fling open, and this vision of a woman is standing by the entrance in a white, close-fitting, well-cut dress. She has an almost unnatural beauty about her. Yeah, dark hair, a very dark Eastern European kind of look to her face. Her skin is both a vision of porcelain, but also there's a kind of a suntan, a very light suntan to it. So there's moments where you see she just looks like a pasty white vision, and other times you think actually looks kind of exotic. Whether it's a trick of the light, you don't know. And she says, Gentlemen, ladies, obviously, Shirley, sir, I believe we haven't met. Although we've spoken, please allow me to introduce myself. I am the Lady Carmilla. This is my castle, and I believe you have some information for me. Please. Points to River and says, "You, please tell me your information."
You're going to have to refresh me. What was the information we had to gather for?
So you were tasked with doing something specific.
Oh, getting rid of the
That-
body.
Mm.
Yeah. So
We did-
so essentially, the information is what have you returned?
Mm.
What have you? Yeah.
Well, I'll turn around and go, the task that you set, I'll turn around and say, the task that you set is being carried out. We have disposed of the body.
And you specifically say body, not bodies.
Actually, no, I won't say body at all. What I'll say is that
It occurs to you at this moment that it might not be a good idea to mention Bethany at all.
Yeah.
Given that Bethany, Camilla, Lilith are all the same strain, might not be worth mentioning that at all.
What about getting rid of the?
About getting rid of Bethany as well.
No,
You can't.
the task that you have set us, we have carried out the task that you set us, and something that let's say no, they we have done it. We've done it as you have asked. Yeah,
Excellent. I will.
they've been disposed of, or that. Do you want to make? Oh, anyway, whatever.
Yes. I will take you at your word.
Yeah.
So
Excellent.
you have returned to tell me this, or do you
Yeah.
wish?
We also had a request,
Oh yes,
my lady.
that little old man I have in the dungeon.
Yes, we
What's
would
his
very
name?
much like to talk with him. If you could
Oh yes, that's
envisage
how we.
allowing us to.
That's how you had invitation to my house, shall we say? You were looking for that particular chap, much as the Americans were. He seemed to be quite a prize. Something to do with his knowledge, I believe.
It would seem so.
Well,
We would like to speak to him.
I will allow that. Unfortunately, he did die, but
that's unfortunate.
well, unfortunate for you maybe, but we were awfully peckish. So, might be able to help you with something. I might be able to remember something of his memories.
Did he? Oh.
What were we trying to figure out again, by the way?
Yeah.
Where?
The safety deposit box.
Yeah. Essentially, you want to know where St. John Philby's passbook was kept, and any other information which presumes in the same place.
Yeah.
So she says, "Oh, Philby. Yes, he did mention a Philby. Let me write this down. So she writes down an address, and a number, and a couple of numbers, and she says, "Yes, Mr. Arcady did let me know about a particular location for this item." And she hands it to you, and it is a safety deposit box in a bank in Switzerland.
Oh,
And it gives you the account number, sort code, and the password, ID, a number of IDs, essentially everything bar the photograph of St. John Philby to get into the bank. To open up the pass box. Here we go. I'll give the exact location once I've opened the page.
It's exceedingly generous
It's
of you,
the
madam.
how do I pronounce this? Koerner's Bank. Koerner's Bank?
Koerner's, possibly, yeah. I'll go with that.
Koerner's Bank in, I'm pretty sure it's Switzerland. Where? Just double check that. I'm always convinced it's Switzerland, but I just want to go back and double check. Yes. So the Koerner's Bank head office is located in the heart of Zurich in a 16th century building. So Zurich is
Nice if you can
Switzerland. Yep. So piece of paper says box 1274.
1274.
Yep.
Right. My lady, you've been incredibly helpful.
One last thing. Usually safe deposit boxes require some sort of key. That we hold one sort of key.
I'm not partial to eating metal. He had no key on him. I can get one of the servants to bring you his belongings if you wish.
That would be marvellous. Thank you very much.
And one other thing before we conclude our final piece of business. It appears you have become quite adept at removing she wants to say vampires, but doesn't feel comfortable saying vampires. But you can see her lips almost create the V, and it says, people such as I, yes, people such as I, from the field of play. I have helped you, and you have helped me. So I feel that it's best if we don't cross paths again, and we leave each other alone. Aside from one little thing. If
What's that little thing?
We all
I
know.
believe I may, I think it may be in both our interests, if he enters the field of play in a big way, I may, in fact, give you a heads up. I believe is the correct term.
Indeed.
That would be appreciated.
And for this, when all things are done and said are done, and the dust has settled, I wish to be left alone, even if I am the last. She kind of shakes her head a little bit, and you can almost like there's a cold shiver run down her spine when she says, "I just wish to be the last vampire left alive, or not, as it may be." Now go. I will get the witch to give you the items. The next thing you kind of it's a bit of a blur, but you've left the room. You're walking down the corridor. Standing by the door is the woman with a turban with what looks like an A4 office box that you see in office moves everywhere.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She hands it to you and says,
I know the type of box you're referring to.
"Yeah, with the lid on top." She says to you, "Oh, goodbye."
Thank you.
I'll take the box and just leave.
Just want to double check one name.
Oh.
So she hands you the box, and as you drive off, whoever's sitting in the back, rubbing around the box, pair of trousers, pair of shoes, pair of socks, bloody shirts, bloody jacket. In the inside pocket of the jacket is a wallet with Arcady Shevchenko stuff in it. One of the items in the wallet, aside from his all his bank cards and various other things, is a card from the Koenig Bank in Zurich.
Oh, good.
And as the end credits come up, you start driving down the road, heading towards your next, wherever you're heading next. I think that could be a good moment to end.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely.
Ready for your planning of a bank heist next session.
Excellent. So I imagine we're heading to Switzerland.
West. Vienna to Switzerland through Austria. How far would that be?
Is that what we're doing, guys?
It's probably the best bet, to keep on this tack and see this one through.
That's quite that's a 9 hour,
So
9 to 12 hours, depending on.
Wow.
So that's a long one.
That's a long drive.
Through Bavaria.
If you go by the A96, there's 10 hours and 37 minutes. There's a road closure at the moment. Route closed, no other routes available. That's you have to go through Germany. But again, still within Schengen. Switzerland's not within. Oh, is Switzerland within Schengen? Don't know.
Don't you just hate real-time role-playing?
Yeah.
Do that. You can actually do that. There's because that friend of ours took us up round there. What's the really small country?
Liechtenstein.
Liechtenstein, yeah. Because you can go to
Luxembourg. No, so is it Luxembourg? Bottom of Belgium.
Liechtenstein's the smaller one, isn't it?
No, it's the one in Austria, borders Austria. There's a point where you're in you can go from Austria, and you go over a bridge.
Yeah, it's Liechtenstein.
It's Liechtenstein. You go over the bridge.
Yeah.
And if you turn, you go down the road to cross cross the river again.
Oh.
And that road is technically in Switzerland, but it's not part of Switzerland. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because it's the way you can get across this bridge.
But you're not going on the Titan, so it's not that mad. We did the Titans the other one.
It's actually on the map I just posted. Liechtenstein.
Yeah, Pidlock's not good. I completely forgot that existed.
You know the population of Crawley is more than Liechtenstein.
Yeah.
Blimey.
There's another little weird one. If you look at Spain near Andorra, there is another little odd. It's not a country, but it's part of Spain that's in France. So Andorra, just to the kind of right of Andorra, there's a weird. If you got to zoom in quite a bit, there's a weird little enclave. Lille, I think it's called. Is it Lille? Livra, Livia, and it's like a hamlet, and they just decided they want to say Spanish, so they're Spanish.
Wow,
There's an oddity with that. It's just weird. I've seen it before. And I've driven past it when we went to Andorra, but it's a weird little place. There's a gap between Spain and it, but it is Spain. Just because they want it to be Spain. I think there's a weird oddity with a weird oddity with it being in Spain. But anyway, so yes, that's I've completely lost zero ground. I digressed a little bit. Where's it gone? Annecy, Switzerland, Liechtenstein. So, you've got enough petrol money, diesel money. You've got enough drivers in your entourage, so that you could every 3 hours switch drivers and get there.
Yeah. Okay.
And you will arrive at a hotel in Zurich for next session. We won't worry about how hard it was to get across the border because you don't have any heat in Europe, really. You haven't done anything to create heat.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Hopefully we keep it that way.
It's only Morocco that you actually had a fight.
It's the way we like it.
It's
Smashing.